Hi there, this is Leon from Hong Kong and beyond, and thank you for joining the Three Amigos today. Let me please introduce you to my good amigos. On my right is Jason from Martial Art Theatre 3000.
How's it going?
Not bad, Jace. Would you like to just give everybody a brief update on your channel, what you represent, and what you might have cooking in the pot?
Yeah, for sure. My channel is Martial Arts Theater 3000, and I've been doing it for about, I don't know, are you guys forgetting it's 2025 recently? I just keep like totally forgetting. Wow, 4 years now, and it's been a blast meeting everyone, and I cover martial arts movies, mainly old school. And recently on my channel, I've been adding in some more shorts, trying to give little blurbs about the Venoms and like Chang Shang. Been adding those in because some of them I actually took from my larger videos. I like to just give little tidbits. And I've been trying to do some more like I don't know how you would say it, scope, or sorry, like bigger scope videos, like kind of like why I think 1978 is the best year in Kung Fu cinema. So I've just been covering, more of those topics. And I have some things on the back burner. I've been wanting to go through Bruce Lei's entire like catalog and then rank them. And as I've told you guys before, that Venom ones, I think took a few years off my life, like how much work that was. So I've been just trying to do it when I feel like doing the video, even if it takes like a year longer, just do like one here and there versus like, because I know Leon, like that Jackie Chan thing, you just sprinted right through that. So not that's a bad thing, but at the end you said you were a little beat up. So
I was fatigued, all the claims and all that stuff that was going on. Oh, yeah, it really exhausted me. Okay,
well, yeah, so
and we have...
I'm just saying I'm going to be doing the Bruce Lee and some Shogasugi and stuff like that.
I can't wait for that. I'm looking forward to that stuff. And we got to mention as well, right at the beginning, Mike's Avengers podcast, because that's too good not to mention.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. And my other amigo is Kaleb from Kaleb's Kung Fu Cinema. Kaleb, give everybody an update as to your channel and what's going on.
Yeah, I'm Kaleb, host of Kaleb's Kung Fu Cinema. It started out as a podcast about it'll be 5 years this year, but it started out as a podcast about a little over 4 years ago. Originally, it was just me and my wife Amber, and then we expanded into myself, Amber, and our good friend Montarius. I've also had various guest podcast hosts on the show throughout the years. I retired the podcast last year, but it's okay. It's still up for everybody to hear, and it's on all the major platforms. So anybody who hasn't heard it or wants to revisit it, it's still available for everybody. And I transitioned over into pretty much just strictly a YouTube channel because it was just for me, it was a little easier to do with after getting a new job and getting a lot busier. Finding time to do the podcast just got harder and harder, and so I decided to just transition over to YouTube and start making videos, which is a lot easier for me. I have been out of action for almost 2 months because I got really sick with a respiratory infection and I had to recover from that. But I'm feeling good now. I'm doing a lot better. I just did a video showing off my everything I got for Christmas recently, which was a lot of movies. And I've got a couple of movie reviews coming up really soon. Now I'm gonna do review Twilight of the Warriors Walled In,
Nice.
probably next weekend. Next weekend. Sorry about that. Yeah, do that next weekend. I also plan on seeing 100 Yards pretty soon, and I'm gonna review that as well. And I got a lot of other reviews in the works. That's kind of what I'm focusing on from here on out for the next, I don't know, maybe a couple months. Is just reviewing a bunch of movies that I didn't get to do on the podcast.
Nice.
Great. Well, that's good. I like you guys to feed me some content because I like to come home, have tea, biscuits, and watch you guys on YouTube while I relax. So that is great to hear. Today, what we're here for today, we're here.
Yeah, you're not off the hook. You're not off the hook. We need your update.
Oh yes. Very sorry. How remiss of me to forget to add myself. So yeah, I think we've been hard at it with the Jackie January, or I have myself, and that was fun. It was something I really wanted to do. Was my top 25 Jackie Chan fight scenes, and we've made a few plans. We're going to make a few changes this year, I think, And I think I'm not going to pump out so many videos on selected topics because it's kind of very lonely. It's like you by yourself, and as good as it can be, as fun as it can be, I think I like the interactions a little bit more. When I'm with you guys and we're doing the streams, or I'm with Shaz and we're doing the podcast, that's where the joy is. So we're going to carry on with the podcast, but speaking with Shaz, and rather than make it feel timed all the time, we're going to take it back to one podcast every 2 months. That way we can carefully select the films that we want to cover. They will be one Hong Kong and one from somewhere else, East Asia. So we're looking forward to carrying like a through line. So we covered just on the last episode Cure by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, and we're going to be following that up with another Kiyoshi Kurosawa film, which we have selected, but I'm not at liberty to say yet. And we also covered Boat People, and we're going to follow that one up with another An Hui film. But again, I'm not at liberty to say I know what it is, but we're going to do those, and we're looking forward to it. And we're going to see where that takes us. It may that we may get to the end of our An Hui coverage and then say, well, who was in Boat People that we liked? Oh, George Lam. Maybe we'll go and do a series of George Lam films now, or Andy Lau, or whatever. Just going to let the path take its natural course and enjoy that. And then on top of that, we can kind of concentrate then on the end of year sort of countdown videos. We kind of like them, like what was our top 25 of the year, or top 10 a year, whatever it is. But we kind of enjoy watching Huss at Touch of Film. Shout out to Huss. Hi, Huss.
What's up?
His videos, I really enjoy when he puts out his end of year list. I usually sit down, a cup of tea or beer, and watch them, and I get my pen out, pad, and write down the list. So I'm looking forward to making that more of a thing. Looking forward to doing a Christmas special again. But other than that, we'll cover some films that are sent for us to review for cinema, which we do enjoy. But we're not just going to pick a film off the shelf and review it. It is good, but we've got like a back catalogue of over 300 videos, and I think that's more than enough for the time being. So I think we've got too much choice sometimes, and people just flip through one of our videos to the next, to the next, to the next. So it's time to cull it back a little bit and just enjoy doing what we do, because I love spending time with you guys.
I would like if you guys, I mean, it's a lot. It seems like it's a lot if you kept up your short timber, because I thought you guys would always show up on that. Because I know me and Kaleb will do a video or two, and I always want to do more. You guys come in just like it seems like you've been preparing for 2 years. Just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. I try to do like this past September. I wanted to try to do a little bit more, but I was like, I don't know. I kind of just like to focus on maybe like one Shaw Brothers thing a year. So yeah, I'll probably stick with that. I don't really know if I'd be able to do a lot of Shaw Timber in 1 month.
Yeah, Kaleb, speaking of when Leon said he was going to lower the amount of the podcast, I was impressed when you kept up with that every 2 weeks for 3-4 years straight, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it was I'm trying to think. It was like I think it was every other week for probably 3 years. Yeah, and then and then we just switched to monthly for about a year, like once a month for a year, and then that was when we decided to call it a day.
Yeah, bi-weekly. I mean, that's discipline. It seems like you guys were crushing it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were completely smashing it, because I just tried one. I think it was the previous episode, not the one that's just out. The previous one, I tried to go full film coverage like you always did. And I didn't realize how exhausting that was. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is hard work.
Yeah, especially with one or two people. When you have three, you can kind of chill while the other people discuss it.
Yeah.
But when
so kudos for that.
Yeah, thank you. It was it was definitely rough. Like looking back on it, when I do like video reviews now of movies, they're obviously they're a lot shorter. I try to keep it maybe under 10 minutes. Because then I can just kind of get my opinion out there. But I felt like whenever we did it on the podcast, I felt like I needed to break down everything, just to kind of I guess kind of pad the podcast time. So
yeah, but you did it in a way I really like, because it's the type if someone even if they never want to see the movie, you really walk them through each step, and you'll be like, okay, now we're at the finale. Like, I liked how you outlined it, so if someone is even if never going to see the movie, they felt like they kind of watched it a bit, you know.
Yeah. And some people have reached out and told me that before, that they felt like they were watching it even if they hadn't seen it before.
Cool.
So,
cool.
Yeah.
That's really comforting when you sat at work doing a boring job and you got that in you. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, so to today's theme. It's not Jackie Chanuary anymore, but we've still got a project that we've had to keep putting off because of, it's been unfortunate. Both of my good buddies have not been well, but we've
been planning this for as long as we've been putting it off.
Yes. Well, I think this is the cherry on top of Jackie Chanuary. We had the Sunday. This is the boot.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to give credit to Kaleb for this particular theme and idea, don't we, Jace? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. I can't. It's been that long. I know. All I know is he was very sick, and I was down for the count. So we're back and ready to.
So here it is, folks. What we're going to be doing today is discussing our top 3 Jackie Chan films of the 70s in reverse order. But before we get into that, we're each going to start with our least favorite, what we think is the worst Jackie Chan film of the 1970s. So the order, do you guys mind? I would like to take more of a back seat on this. So do you mind if I go first, get mine out, and then I can pass it over to Jason, and then Jason can pass the baton over to Kaleb? How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Okay, for me, the worst Jackie Chan film of the 1970s, New Fist of Fury. There it is. I mean, it's not that it's a bad film. It's just that they're trying too hard to make him Bruce Lee. And it never sat right with me. I prefer the Bruce Boytation that we've seen that isn't Jackie Chan to Jackie Chan fudged into that role. It never sat well with me. I can appreciate today, what they tried to do with the story and some of the fight scenes. But when it gets to his hands moving, like
yeah,
every time that kills me, it takes me right out the film. And that is my least favorite, even though I have it and I still can enjoy it when that very rare moment takes me. That's the bottom of my pile for the 70s. So, brother Jason, take it away.
For sure. Okay, this was tough for me. My least favorite is Half a Loaf of Kung Fu. Well, and here's the thing. So because I got sick and we were putting these off, I watched all the Jackie Chan movies. But as you know, not all the Jackie Chan movies, but all the 70s ones. And as you know, they seem to like lump in pairs. So if you watch Drunken Master and Snake and Eagle's Shadow, they start feeling similar, especially when there's the same villain and same, old master. So I wanted to do like a refresher. So this past week, I've been kind of going back to it. And excuse me, I have to say, To Kill with Intrigue was the one I was going to have as the worst one, because I thought that was so bleak. Jackie seemed such a fish out of water. Like in my mind, I used to think New Fist of Fury was a little rough, but what I feel like is Lo Wei kind of beat the life out of Jackie Chan. Like in my mind, especially like I have his book right here. This is one of my favorite books. I Am Jackie Chan.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's so good. And so you guys have both read that then? Yeah. You know that Lo Wei section so interesting, but in my mind, I pictured this trajectory where he just got better and better, and then he hit on Snake and the Eagle's Shadow. But when I rewatched this, I felt like he came out of that Peking opera stuff with Little Tiger from Kwantung, and then into New Fist of Fury. And I actually see a lot of life in Jackie. I think he's silly and he's doing a lot of stuff, but I feel like he just got beat down by Lo Wei. By the time you get to Kill It with Intrigue, he seems depressed and just bummed out. And I was like, this is the worst Jackie Chan 70s movie. But then when I rewatched Half a Loaf of Kung Fu, I'm not a big fan of like Kung Fu comedies. I happen to think Jackie Chan is funny. So like in his movies, I feel like he is funny, but when they try to make the movie funny with the Three Stooges stuff and the or whatever, like all that editing and stuff, not even a slight smirk. It actually makes me like feel like I feel less amused the more bells and whistles that Lo Wei was trying to throw at that. And I just kept begging. I was like, can they just have a serious moment? And they do get more serious at times, but they always just keep going back to that slapstick. So for me, I think Half a Loaf of Kung Fu is his worst 70s movie.
Fair comment.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Caleb Naser.
Yeah, so man, I'm kind of starting to feel like a fish out of water here, because I have to say, like, even, I mean, New Fist of Fury and Half a Loaf of Kung Fu, I totally get what you guys are saying. I'm not trying to I'm not going to defend those movies by any means, but I will say that I actually kind of enjoyed both of those. New Fist of Fury, the thing with that one is I watched both versions of the movie, but when I first watched it, I watched the very heavily trimmed down one, because, you know, originally that cut was like over 2 hours, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a very heavily trimmed down one, which was like maybe 80 minutes, a little less than that, probably. It was very, 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 very cut down. And so I watched the very cut down version, and I actually thought it wasn't that bad. I mean, I dig
it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see, yeah, they were trying to make him the next Bruce Lee and stuff like that. Very, very much trying to replicate the original Fist of Fury, which was, you know, obviously a huge success, my favorite Bruce Lee movie. And I know Jason, that's his favorite as well, or maybe not favorite. I know you said that you think that's his best one, but
yeah, my favorite's Big Boss, but I think Fist of Fury is his best, though.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, so I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I watched that cut down version of it, and at the end of it, I was like, you know what? I actually didn't think it was that bad. It was passable. I'll put it that way. But that's just that version of it. I did end up watching the longer version, like later on, because I did interview Brandon Bentley. I don't even remember when I did that. Almost 2 years ago, I guess. But whenever I did that, whenever I was getting ready to interview Brandon, I went back and watched that longer version of New Fist of Fury, and I listened to it with Brandon and Kung Fu Bob's commentary, which was excellent. I was rolling at that commentary. They made so many funny points and like stuff like that, and so the commentary definitely helped. But yeah, that longer cut New Fist of Fury is not fun.
Well, when it says 1980 cut, is that the shorter one then, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then then Half a Loaf of Kung Fu, again, I get that as well. It's not great, but at the same time, I came out of that movie thinking, okay, it's not that terrible, because I've seen a lot of people like really trash that movie and say, you know, it's a horrible abomination and like all this other stuff. I'm like, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, it does make me laugh here and there, but they definitely go overboard with the comedy. It's a little too goofy at times. But at the same time, yeah, again, I came out of that saying, you know what, it's not that terrible. So for me, I have to say, like, I think my least favorite from that period is Little Tiger of Kwantung, because and that's not to say that it's a bad movie. I just feel like it's probably the least impressive. I don't think it stands out as well as like other movies. To Kill with Intrigue and Killer Meteor, stuff like that, yeah, probably not great, but I mean, at least those movies still kind of have like a very interesting look and feel to them. And I feel like Little Tiger Kwantung is just not really a standout. It's just not very impressive for me. I didn't enjoy it that much. I didn't feel like I was watching anything, you know, really that interesting. And with those other movies, I didn't feel that way. You know, I felt like, okay, I'm watching something interesting. I'm watching something that's like a product of its time or something, you know, and Little Tiger just didn't really do anything for me.
Can I throw in a small hot take there?
Yeah.
I thought that was going to easily be my least favorite, especially because I put on the YouTube video and that was the worst quality. I couldn't find it. I mean, the quality I watched, I don't know if I've ever seen a Kung Fu movie look that bad.
Yeah,
like I couldn't even make screen. I had to keep it small so I could see like what was going on. But my hot take was, I feel like in a weird way, because he was only 17 when he made that one.
Yeah.
And I felt like his acrobatics were actually a little fresher. Well, okay, what it was is that his acrobatics, of course, especially in the 80s, went to an insane level, especially the choreography. But the actual moves themselves, he was so spry. And if you think about it, if you're in that Peking opera school growing up, you're you're so fresh, like off of it. He would just go up and rock and do these things. Like his moves seemed almost like, I wouldn't say at their peak, but you know how gymnastics, they usually have kids when they're 9 or 10, you get it in your system. But if you took 10 years off, like you'd be rusty. He no way got rusty and his choreography got better, but I could see a snap. He seemed fresh out of school. And I think his moves had a real snap on his acrobatics in that.
Yeah.
It's like watching Jet Li in Shaolin Temple.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it doesn't make it great though.
No.
Yeah,
I've got this kind of interesting. I would started off with this because don't know if you guys know, but To Kill with Intrigue, yeah, that inspired me to start writing.
Oh wow!
Really?
Yeah, I've never fully finished it, but I started writing a novel called The Scarred Sorceress, and it was based on To Kill with Intrigue because the
that's cool.
storyline of that film really captured my imagination, and as Jason and I both know, we both like fantasy, quite a strong love of it, and I saw a strong fantasy sort of plot on that film, and I didn't look at it as a martial art film. I looked at it as a fantasy film. I thought this would work so much better as a fantasy film or a book. So I did start writing it, and I loved the whole thing with the Bloody Rain Gang. I love that you had Su Feng in there from Touch of Zen and all the King Hu films. So I have a real soft spot for To Kill with Intrigue, even though I know as a kung fu film, it's not it's not good. It's not good at all.
Well, you have a good eye for that with the drama and fantasy. You have a good. I could see. My thing is I was looking at the scope of Jackie Chan, and whenever Jackie Chan has the Baroque haircut or like the Venoms, you know how like in the Venoms they have like the Beatles shag cut or it's back with the sideburns. When they put Jackie Chan in that, it just does not work for me. You know what I mean? Like in I don't want to spoil my picks coming up, but I just in Magnificent Bodyguards, this kind of feels like that period. In Jackie Chan has said To Kill an Intrigue, like he broke his nose, I think multiple times on the set, and he just had it was freezing. It was the worst experience. And so when I look at it as a Jackie, I was so like. I thought it was some of the cinematography was so dark, that and Jackie just seeming like he didn't want to be there. And they made his character such a jerk that I couldn't see the forest for the trees, but I can trust you to like pull out the gems of it or the gem aspect of it.
Yeah, nobody else can justify the existence of movies like Super Dragon or The Dragon Lives like Leon. I would call back to our Bruceploitation discussion whenever Game of Thrones came out. But yeah, I mean, I hated those movies so much. The Dragon Lives made me fear for my life. but yeah, Leon, he actually justified the existence of those two movies. So if anybody can do it, it's Leon.
I couldn't save Cameroon Connection, though, no matter what I did.
The movie's past saving.
But that's great. That inspired you. That's what's cool. Someone might choose it as like their least favorite, but it hits you in a different way, And that's funny. I want to say one thing. That's what surprised me when I was studying like about the Venoms. The movies I thought would have done worse for them in like Chinese culture, or when it was being aired in China. Sword Same with Royal Blood and the ones based on those Louis Cha novels. For some reason, they were like doing great at the box office, which surprised me. So I feel like sometimes when we're kind of just looking for like a wheels on meals fight scene, there's like a Chinese culture aspect and the novel aspect, that I sometimes want to like pay a little more attention to. Because to be honest, sometimes when it's so verbose and it's such a deep story that's based on a novel, they try to fit so many characters. I tend to think those ones are a little lesser, but I've grown to appreciate them more over the years.
I can't explain why I like half love Kung Fu, but you've both probably seen my reviews, so you know that I do. But I've no defense, so I'm going to leave that one at the gate.
No, just my personal thing. I just have trouble. And that's ironic because I love Three Stooges. I just think it's when I don't know. I could just tell Lo Wei was just trying so hard, and that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about Lo Wei a bunch. Like he's an interesting. It's hard to pin him down. I'll say that. It's hard to like put him in a box.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. So now for the main course, we're going to get into our top 3 Jackie Chan films of the 1970s. Now, if any of you have watched my list of my top Jackie Chan films of all time, you might know my list already, or you might be able to work it out, but there has been a change. So what would have been number 3 would have been Drunken Master, but I've replaced it. And I've replaced it after rewatch with, and this is going to be sacrilegious to some, but The Snake and Crane Arts of Shaolin.
That's a good
I
one.
adore this one. It's such a good, the snake fist fighting in it is just so good. And I don't know what it is. There's just something in Snake and Crane Arts with the whole story, the villain in it. You know, Chin Kang is just such a good villain. The guys with the straw hats, ducking the spears, the music. It's Jackie in a powerful lead role. And, you know, you don't often see him front center as a Superman, usually the underdog. But I really feel he's like, he kicks ass in Snake and Crane. It's just always been one that I've watched over and over and over. And returning to it now with the additions that we've got now, I think, you know what, if I've got like Drunken Master and I've got Snake and Crane Arts of Shaolin, yeah, I might know that Drunken Master is the classic and one that most people are going to put above it, but I know I'm going to put that one in. I know if I'm honest with myself, I'm going to put Snake and Crane Arts of Shaolin in because it just connects with me and brings back many happy memories. So that's my number 3 slot. Your turn,
Nice
Jace.
one, man. Yes. Me and Leon often say we have very similar tastes. And I was thinking, oh man, we probably could have the same top 3 on all this, but actually it's a little different, but similar trajectory because, and this might spoil the upper 2, but I had Drunken Master at number 3 as well. I had to pull it off and I'm surprised that I did it. I don't have a singular version, but the one I picked was on here and I went with number 3, Dragon Fist. That's what I went for number 3. Now, boy, it was, I love the tournament element. Like, I'm sure you felt this. It was tough to pull Drunken Master off, Leon, you know?
Yeah.
It's like
painful. It was painful.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's what it was. And I think it's important to say why I knocked it off because they were neck and neck. My issue was, I hate to say it, I think Drunken Master, in my mind, and the importance of it, I feel overall it's overrated. And I think because people see the importance of it, it is excellent. The box office, it's smashed. It took Jackie, it changed everything. But my my feeling on it is that, well, that'll probably spoil an upper one. I just feel that it actually isn't the best version of Jackie Chan's comedy in that element. It just, there's something about the Drunken Master that I feel the middle, you lose the villain feeling. You know, I feel the villain goes away too long in the middle and it's just pure training, where I feel like you have to feel the villain is always like there. So when it gets back to the villain, he's not as scary. It'd be like Jaws if they Jaws does have long moments, but if you just didn't see any kills in the middle for like an hour, you know? Yeah. And so that brings me to Dragon Fist, which I feel like this is when I know behind the scenes, Jackie Chan was I think it was an obligation. He was loaned out to do the seasonal and then let me think. His first Golden Harvest actually was Young Master. So he was loaned out to do Snake and Eagle Shadow and Drunken Master with Yuen Wu Ping. Were they both seasonal films?
Yeah.
On that?
Yeah, both.
Okay. So, but he had one more, I guess, obligation with Lo Wei. So it felt like weird. It'd be like, I don't know. It'd be just like someone returning to a band you didn't like after a successful solo act, you know? But I feel like he went back and he did the choreography, and the choreography is so satisfying in Dragon Fist. I just feel like it's a mixture. It's strange. He didn't use a lot of what he used in Snake and Eagle Shadow and Drunken Master. He wasn't like doing the Jackie Chanisms as much, but he was mixing it in with that traditional form. And I felt like, man, it was such a mix of Jackie had arrived, but it feels like he cleaned up all the issues he had with the other Lo Wei movies, in my opinion, you know, not counting Snake and Crane Arts because it's not a Lo Wei film, but just all the issues with all the Lo Wei, it finally clicked. It feels like even Lo Wei was like, okay, I'll let this guy like off his leash a little bit, you know? And I don't know what it is. The choreography is so crisp. It has a lot of shapes. It's not as much of the somersaults and the Peking opera flips. but it's so satisfying. And I don't know, I just love everything about Dragon Fist, and I was very surprised that it knocked down Drunken Master. I think that's going to be like sacrilege to a lot of people. They're probably like punching their phone right now. But yeah, I just think it knocks it down. I think also the ending, so many twists and turns. And here's the other thing. I don't like when Jackie, I know Wong Fei Hung is kind of a brat, you know, but I don't like when Jackie is so unlikable in some of these. That's why I had issue with which one that we mentioned earlier. You know, and To Kill an Intrigue, he's such a jerk in it. Like, he's so mean to that woman. I know that's the character, but Jackie Chan, we like him as the bubbly guy and the little one who could, you know, he's always against like 5 enormous men and like bodybuilders in the later 80s and 90s ones, and he just pulls it off. When he's a jerk, it's harder to root for him. And I feel like, especially versus Drunken Master 2, I feel like he just comes off as a jerk in Drunken Master by design, and it makes him a little less likable. And I think in Dragon Fist, he just has such a big heart trying to save he calls her mistress, but I guess it was the girl he's with's mother. And the whole thing had a noble cause. And yeah, just love Dragon Fist. That's my number 3. Awesome.
And Kaleb.
Yeah, that's a really, really strong one starting out here. For me, this isn't really tough for me. Like, I actually had a pretty easy time picking these and placing them. Before I go ahead and say it, I do want to apologize to our good friend Johnny, aka the Fanatical Dragon, because he's hazed me a little bit here and there over this movie, because my number 3 pick is Spiritual Kung Fu. Yeah, I love that movie. I understand that it's not Jackie's strongest, you know, and it was kind of Jackie, of course, did half a loaf of Kung Fu first, and Spiritual Kung Fu was, Lo Wei's attempt at like, okay, Jackie, you tried your little comedy bit here with half a loaf of Kung Fu. Let's see if I can do it better with Spiritual Kung Fu. And Spiritual Kung Fu is a very outrageous, wacky movie, and Jackie's character is not that likable either at several moments in the movie, like especially like when he meets this girl. And if I remember correctly, I mean, it's been a good minute since I saw the movie, but if I remember correctly, his character was like doing this thing where he had like never met a girl before, didn't know what a girl was, sort of thing. And like that scene's kind of weird. There's a scene where
he's trying to kiss her, where they're fighting to kiss her.
Yeah. Not a great scene. And
good fight though. Good fight.
Yeah, that was. And that girl did. I can't remember the actress's name, but she did great. Choreography wise, did a really, really good job there. There are other scenes, like there's a moment where Jackie kills a hen. I hate that too. And but I have to say, like, the stuff that I do like, like the fights, there aren't a whole lot of them, but they're the one, like whenever they get to him, it's really cool. Like, especially when he's fighting all the monks with the different weapons, stuff like that. That's a really great sequence. I love how long it is and stuff like that. It's really really fun to watch. And then like the final fight, is also really good. James Tien gets in there, and him and Jackie always did a really good job, like, together.
That's such a great fight. Such a good fight.
Yeah, and then we get that surprise twist at the end as well. Like, like once again, with like those like older like Lo Wei Jackie Chan movies, they try to do the twist, a good few times, and so we had that here. And I remember rewatching Spiritual Kung Fu a few years ago after not seeing it for many, many years. And I completely forgot about a lot of things that happened in the movie. And so like when that twist comes at the very end, it like legitimately surprised me, and so it's I think it's got some good moments, and it is funny here and there. There's a lot of training with the ghosts. The ghosts are hilarious. Like they like really crack me up. I love when the ghosts actually come in and they kind of like start haunting the place, and all the monks and the students and everything like that are like constantly freaking out,
flying around that little book or whatever.
Yeah, or the
I think it comes down to whether the ghosts and the red hair is just like the worst thing you've ever seen, or you can hang with that. I think that's like the breaking points, the ghost elements.
Yeah, I for me, I'm the kind of person that can hang with it, and again, Spiritual Kung Fu is just super nostalgic for me because it was the first Jackie Chan film I ever saw. You know, I remember having it on VHS and watching it all the time. So it means a lot. It means a lot to me. And you know, spiritual kung fu is just nostalgia is a real killer sometimes. And like for me, yeah, for me, I am just like I am just overtaken with nostalgia when it comes to spiritual kung fu.
Oh, I have to say one thing.
It.
I was just going to say, you made a correction on me. When I watched Half a Loaf of Kung Fu recently, it says a Lo Wei production, but you reminded me it's not directed by Lo Wei, right?
No, yeah, it was his studio. He was a producer, but it was directed by, I think, I can't remember.
Okay.
John Chong Hua, something like that. I can't remember his name.
Well, sorry, Lo Wei. Whoever the director was, I wasn't feeling his comedy.
No, it wasn't him. I don't think Lo Wei really had any creative input on Half a Loaf of Kung Fu, but he did with Spiritual Kung Fu. So
okay,
that was kind of his attempt at like doing the kung fu comedy that Jackie was trying to do with Half a Loaf.
According to Jackie's book, Lo Wei was asleep most of the time, so it seemed like most people took over and filled in director's shoes anyway. So how much
and listening to baseball? Remember, he was listening to baseball or something. Yeah, he must. It's weird. He really interjected himself in those, like especially New Fist of Fury, such a prominent role in Fist of Fury. But when you see him on screen, I don't know. He seems like he'd be like a bubbly, like Chang Che, likable type of guy. But man, Bruce Lee pulled a knife on him, I believe, and a belt knife, and then Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan couldn't hate that guy more. You know.
Yeah.
Insane. Good thing for Jimmy Wang Yu, eh?
I remember reading about like when Bruce Lee worked with Lo Wei during the Big Boss, because Lo Wei wasn't the original director for Big Boss. I can't remember who the original director was, but I remember like reading that he would write letters to his wife and just say all these things about Lo Wei, about how he's an egomaniac. He has just this like horrible personality and like all these other things. And I definitely.
And how hot it was too. It was like 100 degrees too while they were filming.
Yeah. So I definitely agree with Jason. Nobody probably hates Lo Wei as much as Bruce Lee.
Cool. I do like spiritual kung fu. The only thing I struggle with in it is the peeing humor. Anytime we get any of this peeing on things humor, why?
I was thinking about that like before we got started. Oh man, that like always cracked me up, especially because like it's the dub, you know. It's like whenever the ghosts like first come up and they're like really small, and Jackie's like trying to get them out from behind the bookshelf, and he says something like. He's like, all right, I'll flood you out. And then so he starts peeing on them. That always made me laugh.
Listen, there's nothing funny about golden showers. They shouldn't be in kung fu movies.
No, I agree. It's just the way he's like, I'll flood you out.
Okay. Are we ready for my number 2?
Yes, let's hear it.
My number 2 slot, I get a feeling that you probably both going to guess this. I reckon Jason will guess it. It is Snake and Eagle Shadow. Because out the 2,
I knew it.
Drunken Master, Snake and Eagle Shadow. Snake and Eagle Shadow is the one I connect with the most. His character is just that much more endearing in Snake and Eagle Shadow. He's so much more the underdog. And I find, as Jason kind of alluded to, that Hong Jong Lee is a bit more menacing in that one. And I just love the whole story, you know, the way he meets the beggar soul character, and the relationship that builds up between them. It just seems a bit more genuine and heartfelt, and that the way it is, it feels kind of fresh. Even though he's done all the Lo Wei films, it feels like you've got a fresh new star, and all this possibility lays ahead of you. And every time I watch that one, I don't know, it was harder for me to find when I was younger. You know, I knew about it, and I'd seen Drunken Master, but I searched high and low for Snake and Eagle Shadow, and it took me quite some time before I eventually got to see it. And when I did, I'm like, I love this. And I've always loved it and preferred it to the Drunken Master. For me, Snake and Eagle Shadow was probably my favorite seasonal film. I know they've done loads of great ones, but that one, it just hits every point just right, on the sweet spot for me. That's my number 2.
Nice. Okay, so I guess this is going to be a nice little continuation because I have Snake and the Eagle Shadow as well for number 2.
I knew it.
I know me and Leon are like separated at birth. But yeah, I guess I'll just continue with what you were saying, because I agree with a lot of those points. And you have to compare it to Drunken Master. I do not recommend watching those two anywhere close to back, because they just like meld into this like same movie. But Snake and the Eagle Shadow, the pacing is better. The training is better. Jackie Chan is much more likable in it. I think that's important for Jackie Chan, because, the protagonist role, you want to get the audience so on your side. And when you're being pushed away by Jackie, and I guess because he became so likable, he's just like, everyone loves Jackie Chan, that when you see him being the brat, I know that's the point of the story. It's just, I don't know. And like the other thing is, yeah, it was strange. Like the more I watched Drunken Master 2, I have to say the less I like it, which is kind of weird. Like, I think the ending is really powerful in I said Drunken Master 2. I meant, of course, Drunken Master. But the more I watch it, it just drops down a peg or two. I do think it's a very important, like, flagpole moment of the 70s. But that's another point. Snake and the Eagle Shadow really put the jump from all the movies to Snake and the Eagle Shadow is such a seismic leap. And then the Drunken Master's just, well, for me, goes down a bit. But his, Jackie Chan just came into his own. He was bottled up. He was like what do they say? Keg powder or whatever, like a blowing up.
Powder keg.
Yeah. Powder cake. Thank you, Caleb. Yeah. And man, it just all came out in all his frustrations and everything. And I just love in some of the cinematography where he's doing like the moon by the moonlight, and I love the relationship with him and the Sifu and everything. It's just so great. And it's very similar. I think that's 1977 or 78. 78. 78, of course. Yeah, I did a video on 78. Of course, I know that. But what I was thinking is that Executioners of Shaolin was 77, and they have a very similar ending, especially in the English dub, which it was sad. When I first saw Executioners of Shaolin without the English dub, I was sad it didn't hear that voice when they say it was a mixture of, Tiger and Crane that helped them defeat Pai Mei. And it's almost the same exact thing on Snake in the Eagle Shadow. He says, I think you should call it Snake. And he doesn't say Snake in the Eagle Shadow. He says something a little different, right? Snake under the Eagle Shadow, maybe.
Right.
Or maybe it is the same line. I think it's just a little altered. But I was like, wow, that is so similar to Executioners of Shaolin, But yeah, that's my number 2. I just think I think we're only talking 70s, but that is just up there for Jackie Chan. If we were talking all Jackie Chan, it gets really hairy in the top 5, but for 70s, that's my number 2.
Nice. Good one. Yeah. So I guess it's my turn. My number 2 is actually Dragon Fist. So,
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I had to, it was hard for me to place Spiritual Kung Fu and Dragon Fist. I was kind of like thinking, do I want to put Spiritual Kung Fu at number 2? But then I was like, no, I don't really think it's as good as Dragon Fist. I mean, I think, Jason had already covered a lot of this because Dragon Fist was just his third pick, of course. But I do have to say, the same thing. I love the tone of it. I love how serious it is. The fight scenes are incredible. The story can get really scattered a little bit, and it's and it can be a little tough to follow at times, but I mean it's still like really fun. The messy plot didn't really take me out of it when I first watched it. I still really enjoyed it. I thought the fights are really good. I really love what they did with the master, the main one that Jackie is hunting throughout the movie. I really like what they did with him and kind of like giving him, like his own redemption arc and stuff like that. Because when the movie starts, he's not a nice guy. He's evil kung fu master, that sort of thing, in the context of the movie, so many years pass before Jackie is actually ready to go after this guy and avenge his master. But by the time he finds this guy, nothing is the same about this person. He's completely different. And
exactly.
yeah, and that was another thing that I really liked about it, about how they tried to give him his own arc and stuff like that. And again, going back to James T and him and Jackie have some excellent moments, like as far as fighting and stuff like that goes, and we get a great twist with James Tian's character at the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I definitely have to put Dragon Fist at my number 2 pick.
Let me ask you,
Nice.
It's interesting you said that little point where it goes forward a bunch of years. I feel like I didn't feel that fast forward. I felt like there's the one thing missing in the movie where he got better at the Dragon Fist or was studying it. They didn't really highlight that, like it could have used like him training, like all of these films tend to. I think that would have just made it a little up. It would have upped it a bit.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't even really remember how much time they said it passed, but I think
I missed that. I think suddenly he was just better at Dragon Fist, and I was like, how did he get better? I was like,
yeah, it just happened. But yeah, I would have liked to see some training too. I think that definitely would have made it even better. But I still like how it turned out.
Good pick.
Nice. Yeah, I'd like that. I mean, you got Yen Shi Quan in there, haven't you? Which is absolutely fantastic. Great villain. Okay, for my number 1, I mean, I'm going to feel really, really bad, Jace, if I put out my number 1 and it's your number 1.
I think
do we want to reverse the order for the last round and go Kaleb, Jason, me, or are we happy to continue on and run the risk?
Oh, you mean just because I'm the last one, you went first, and like, oh, that's really kind of you. I don't know. I don't mind. Let's let Kaleb decide.
Yeah, Kaleb, you decide. It's your choice, brother.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I already kind of have a feeling what you guys' number 1 picks might be. I'm not going to say, I'll leave it up to you. But I mean, I guess I will go ahead and get mine out of the way. I mean, mine's actually a pretty obvious pick too. So, I mean,
I can't guess right now, to be honest. Okay, it just came to me, but I might be wrong.
I can go first. I can go ahead and get my number 1 pick out of the way and let you guys go. Who's going first, Leon or Jason? I don't know. You guys can fight over that.
Well, no, you're going to go, Kaleb. Okay, right.
No, I was saying, like, after I go, I mean, you two can fight it out and decide who goes.
Okay, well, we'll go reverse order then. We'll go Kaleb, Jason, and I'll just tag on the end because I've got a sneaky feeling that we're gonna collide again.
Yeah, I have a feeling too. But yeah, I mean, I'll go ahead and do my number 1 pick because I mean, why? What else would it be? My number 1 pick is Snake in the Eagle Shadow. Yeah, and it's already really hard for me to say what I need to say about it because you guys already pretty much covered all the bases. I mean, it's Jackie's character. I mean, this came out first, before Drunken Master. I mean, I think there's like a 6-7 month gap between those 2 movies, between the release dates at least, and and for me, I mean. You guys kind of already know I don't know if notorious is the correct wording here, but I kind of notoriously do not care for Drunken Master. I understand the significance of it, and I know it made a really huge impact. But I got to tell you, every time I read a list or watch a video on what Jackie's best movie is or what his best fight scene is, it's always Drunken Master. And again, I get it. I get the impact that movie has made, but at the same time, it's just I go back and I watch it. I actually haven't watched Drunken Master in like 5 years, and that is because I absolutely have zero interest in watching it. I really do not want to revisit it right now.
Well, I'm getting a little Cameroon vibes coming out of here a little bit.
No. I don't feel that way about it.
I don't know. Actually, I'm surprised. I didn't know it. I thought you just thought it was lesser, like in your. So would it? I mean, it's probably hard to ascertain, but where would you, if you just had to pick on the top 10 of these movies of the 70s, where do you think it'd be out of all of these for you? Drunken Master.
Like, where would Drunken Master be out of all the 70s movies?
Yeah.
I don't know. Hard to say. I mean, I would probably say top 10, but
not top 5 for you, though.
No, I wouldn't say top 5.
So you would put like Snake and Crane Arts and different ones above Drunken Master. Okay, interesting. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Drunken Master's top 10. I mean, I would probably maybe put it at like 6 or 7, Maybe like
there's only 10 for the 70s anyway, so I think it'd be top 10, but
Yeah, I don't know. I'm having a hard time remembering everything. There's probably about 10. You're probably right, but
13, I think.
Oh, really? I actually have 12. Okay, I'm way off. I have Kaleb, the list you sent me. I put it up on a note here.
Oh, well,
When
yeah,
you
yeah. So the thing, for those who don't know, whenever we were originally planning this, we kind of set a bit of a criteria, which was we would only discuss movies where Jackie was the lead.
Mhm.
So, but there are a couple other movies that he did in the '70s that were, where he was a
Yeah.
supporting character or something like that. But I mean,
Killer Meteors.
yeah, I mean, I would say Drunken Master might be number 6 or number 7, like right under top 5. So it's not like
Okay.
it's not even in the discussion, but it's just my interest is not for that movie is just not really there. It's like you guys kind of already pointed it out, but his character is just not very likable in Drunken Master. I feel like and I've said before that I'll die on this hill. Drunken Master 2 is way better than the original, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, some people would disagree, and that's fine. But I feel like even in Drunken Master 2, Jackie's character, actually did learn something. And I feel like in the original one, he didn't really learn anything. It was kind of just like, yeah, he's a brat, and he everybody expects better from him, but he just doesn't care. And he does all these really stupid things. And even like when he's like learning with the old master and stuff like that, you would think, okay, maybe he should actually learn some discipline here or something like that, or actually learn a couple of lessons. He really doesn't. He still tries to do like really stupid stuff and like pull pranks and like try to get out of training and stuff like that with the old master and whatnot. And then with Huang Zhongli's character, Jason said he takes a backseat for a really long time, and
Yeah.
he only comes back into the plot, and then Jackie's like, "Oh, hey, I remember you," and and it's just for me, I don't know. I just don't really have a desire to revisit that movie. I think Snake and Eagle's Shadow is a much better film. That was Jackie's breakout role. If you ask me, and you guys have already touched on that. And Drunken Master came, a little bit afterwards, and I think Jackie was kind of already just skyrocketing right there. I don't think Drunken Master really needed to happen. But
Let me ask you, Caleb. I was going to say,
Yeah.
if you felt like we kind of covered a lot of the bases, I'd like to hear, like, what is your first memory when you first saw it and how it impacted you? Was it on VHS? Was it in the later years, more recently, or?
It was on VHS. Like I remember seeing it as a kid, and what instantly pulled me into that movie was the opening, the red room, and like doing the snake shapes. I thought that was so cool, and I had never seen anything like that before in a movie at the time. And so like whenever it opens up and he's just in this room and he's like doing all kinds of really crazy stuff, I was like, whoa, who's this guy? This is really, really cool. And then the movie gets started and like, wow, this movie is really funny. And and again, Jackie's character is very likable, very relatable. It's this movie, I like to call it the Karate Kid before the Karate Kid, because it's very much like the Karate Kid. Guy doesn't really know martial arts, gets picked on a lot, and he's a quirky old man who teaches him martial arts, that sort of thing. And this quirky old man's got quite the backstory himself. But I really like Jackie's character. Leon said earlier, the friendship between Jackie and the old master is a very genuine, pure friendship. They actually, they like each other, they respect each other, they want to know each other, that sort of thing. And in Drunken Master, it was kind of just, they don't really care about each other too much, I guess. It just, the friendship wasn't really there, but it is present here. And then the villains are actually a really huge presence in Snake and Eagle's Shadow. It's kind of like, it starts off with Huang Zhongli's character, but it's like, oh no, this guy, it's not just him. This guy's he's got more. He's got his own subordinates and stuff like that. It's like how far does the Eagle Claw School, like how far does their reach go? That sort of thing. It definitely keeps you guessing in there too. But yeah, I think that's Jackie's best movie from the '70s.
Nice.
In 1978, that was quite the year for Jack. Jason said it was a big year for kung fu movies, but it was quite the year for Jack too. So many movies came out in '78.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, I think it's like 6 or 5 or something.
Something like that.
On that note, on that thing you just said about that red opening, I just want to say it's amazing how many of those how many movies have that red stage or whatever you want to call it that. And when you were saying that, wouldn't it be funny if an American movie tried out like Sylvester Stallone, like even if he had the gun, it just would not work. I know it's an Asian
shooting
thing.
a red room.
Yeah. I just feel like something about the Asian culture really, it just works. Obviously, because you're doing like kung fu forms, but there's something about that shouldn't work. I think that could, like, if you put anything like that in an American movie, just the hero alone in some soundstage while you know what I mean, or like flexing or something. I don't know. It just like, just, I don't know. I guess I was just kind of mad. Yeah, that is I don't know what the history of that is. I think it's trying to give like the Peking opera stage side of it or something while the credits are going, you know?
Yeah, I think that was kind of the point of it. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I've always loved those openings, like that. Singing in the Shadow was the first time I saw anything like that. So and I loved it so much. I don't know why. It was just like, damn, this is really cool. I mean, I like how they kind of give their star a moment to, you know, show what they can do, you know, or be like, hey, this is the kind of thing you're going to be seeing throughout this movie. And, you know, and so like, anytime I see something like that, I'm like instantly hooked, you know, which, you know, again, I do want to call back real quick to Game of Clones, you know, the Dragon, the Hero, it had a Red Room opening too. And the Dragon, the Hero ended up being my favorite movie on that set. And, and like with that opening, I remember watching that, and as soon as the Dragon the Hero started, we get that Red Room opening. I was like, yeah, this
sold.
I am sold. Yeah, I am 100% into this.
You know what? I'm getting a can of red paint next weekend. I'm going to paint the kitchen completely red.
Yeah, I want to see. I want you to get the, you know, staff out. I want you in there doing a.
Oh yeah, I'm a whole hog.
I'll get my nunchucks out, and I'll do one myself.
You were saying, I was thinking maybe we need to do. It wouldn't be that great. Top 5 Red Room openings, maybe. I don't know.
I don't think there's I mean, I don't think there's enough. I mean, and I say that as in there might. I mean, we might all have the same ones because.
Well, I think you're underestimating. I can name like 4 Venoms movies that do that. I mean, there's
a lot.
Oh my gosh, Executioners of Shaolin.
Yeah.
What is it? Avenging Warriors of Shaolin or Shaolin Rescuers?
Yeah, I was going to say that Shaolin Rescuers has one.
Loads of the independent ones, films with Shaolin Young, Pan Pan, and she's done that. There's so many.
Yeah. I guess I'm just kind of underestimating it. I actually haven't seen that many with Red Room openings, but you know, obviously I need to watch more movies. All right. Yeah. So yeah, I gave my number 1 pick. Obviously, it was a pretty obvious choice, Snake in the Eagle Shadow. So, yeah,
great pick. Great pick.
I say Jason and Leon fight. Whoever lands a hit first gets to go first. So.
I'm gonna give up. I'm not gonna fight Jason. What, you insane?
Well, you said I was up there, right, Leon? So am I going?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we go.
I knew it.
Hyena. Fearless Hyena.
I don't mean to cut you off. Is that the copy I sent you?
Say it again.
Is that the copy I sent you?
Because you sent me a lot. I had Fearless Hyena.
Okay, right. I couldn't remember if you had already had that one or not.
That was one I passed on, but yeah, Kaleb sent me all his doubles. Thank you so much. That was very, very nice of him.
Yeah, of course.
Fearless Hyena. I think people that have watched my channel have heard my story, but I'm going to tell it again. There's probably a lot of different viewers that have not seen that. I had a bad run with Jackie Chan when I started. I would go to a place called Movies Plus in Wexford, Pennsylvania. And I had Rick Meyer's book, and I was like, okay, I'm going to watch a Jackie Chan movie. I can't remember the first one. I think it was The Protector. And it just felt, I don't know, it felt okay. The action looked solid, but it just felt like, okay, why is everyone losing their mind over this guy? But I did have a little bit of a hint because Rick Meyer said it just was him trying to crack America. So then I tried, I think, maybe Big Brawl. I think I tried Master with Cracked Fingers, which is basically a little cub of Quantung with something else mixed in. I didn't know what was going on. I think I vaguely remember Fantasy Mission Force. You can see the trajectory I was going on. I was hitting dud after dud, in my opinion. I mean, Jackie-wise, I can hang with Protector now. Once you see the gold of Jackie, you can go back and appreciate lesser movies of his, Robert Klaus directed. So it's interesting. But so finally, I really feel like Fearless Hyena was like a last-ditch effort. I remember the VHS. I don't know if it was different in England, but it was, I think, a field with Jackie's face on it or something. And I put it in. And right off the bat, I knew something was up. The cinematography, and when it said directed by Jackie Chan, that really interested me. And I think his cinematography in this is amazing. He does a lot of, I think it's dolly shots, but it moves like quicker than most dolly shots, like a lot of this panning when the guys are running and it's on a separate track. So I saw that. Once it got to those opening fights, I was like, man, this is getting better and better. I think by the time it got to him and James 10, who did a great job, I think we have to get a shout out to James 10. The more of these 70s ones you watch, man, he's really, I guess they were friends or something, or Lo Wei must have been really interjecting him, but he's in this one, not a Lo Wei one. I was surprised how much he was in these movies. And I thought he did a great job as the grandfather in this. But when they're doing the pole fighting, I was like, man, this is what it is. I'm getting it. And my mind was blown. It just, I was completely, this was my first Jackie Chan true experience. And because of that, maybe similar to your spiritual Kung Fu, the nostalgia, once that nostalgia, it's like the alien getting on, someone in the movie, like once it's on your brain, you can't really get it off, And I try to be, like pragmatic about it and more objective versus just watching it and like, because when I watch it now, every scene's like a comfort blanket. I just love every scene, even scenes I could see how people be like when him and the guy are buying coffins. I could see how some people would be little like, what's going on with this? For me though, I just was like, I don't know, 10 years old watching it. And it was like kind of cool. It was just like zany moment. And I have to say in the English dub that the bear, his voice is like, why don't you come over here? It's like that voice is like ridiculous.
Every movie back then had a character with that kind of dub voice. It was
yes. I guess they put a sock in his mouth or something. I don't know. I mean, it's like Leon. Do you recognize that dub team? Because they feel like they're English, but they do not feel like the Ted Thomas and the Godzilla team. I don't know. The team on Fearless seemed like a one-off. I don't recognize their voices as much.
I couldn't say because aside from when I first watched the films on rental, I've always gone for the subtitle version.
Right.
So okay. I'm really disconnected from the dubs at this stage.
Oh, so even back in the 80s or whenever you would have watched Fearless Hyena, it was subtitled.
No, I saw the dub then, but it's been so long.
Oh, so long. Okay, when you have the option, yeah, you told me you need toothpicks on your eyes when you watch the.
Yeah, it sends me sleepy. I have no idea why.
Yeah. So and then when it gets to the training is so heartfelt. Jackie is so likable in this. This is the polar opposite of Drunken Master. And he has 2 training sessions. You get James 10 and spoiler alert, he something happens to him for everyone watching. And then the unicorn. Yes. And then the unicorn shows up and it is just, he's so great. And when I see the unicorn in all those sections, I really think Kickboxer took a lot from Fearless Hyena. I mean, of course he was taken from Drunken Master, but just the locale and the way they interact and the scene with the food. I hope I'm leaving something if Leon happens to pick this movie. I hope I'm leaving some goods on the table for him to talk about. But the food scene is amazing. And the ending, the very ending. Oh, and that's the other thing. The villains are so menacing through this with their capes and they're walking. I just feel they come off as just badass and super creepy. And the end fight is amazing. But I think the fight with the guys with, I don't know what that weapon's called. They're almost like switchblade spears because you can fold them down and open them. Those 3 spears, that is, I easily top 5 Jackie Chan fight scenes for me. I think he does like a worm, like a breakdancing move, and does like a backflip, like from I think the worm position, like off his stomach, and it is breathtaking. It blew my mind. It got me into Jackie Chan full go, and I definitely think it's his best 70s movie.
That's a very good argument to make. I can only imagine what Leon is going through right now. So Leon, let's hear it. What's your number 1 pick?
Oh, you think he might be picking Fearless?
Well, this is the end of the stream. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Just kidding. Yeah. As you probably no doubt guessed, I already guessed. Fearless Hyena.
Yeah,
yeah, Jason's nailed all the points.
I felt bad. I was like, should I bring up this scene? I got to leave some.
No, it's good. No, you get it out there. It's great because nobody does it better, dude. You really I love the way listening to you. It's just great joy for me. So
Well,
all I'll
thank
do
you.
is I'll give you a little story of how I came to it. So when I used to hire out on rental all the Jackie Chan films, obviously there wasn't the internet like we have now. So what was in your video shop was what you was aware of. And it was that simple. You might read a book or a magazine, but I'd never actually seen anything about the Fearless Hyena or nothing that stuck in my head. I had like an inside Kung Fu magazine that was Jackie Chan. It was just Jackie Chan inside Kung Fu, and it had pictures of all his films, or what I thought was all his films, but there was nothing of Fearless Hyena in there. So when we eventually moved town and I was living in a different area, and we went to a new video shop, I walked in there and I went straight to the martial arts shelf, and I'm like, what is this? I saw that cover, Jackie from a sort of sideways on with, looking as ripped as I've ever seen him. I'm like, oh, we got to join this video shop. I need to see this film. So we did, probably the first one that we hired out, the Ritz video, and
I love
I just
Hired
loved
Out,
it.
by the way. Hired Out is the funniest thing.
Yeah, slightly, but yeah, what can I say? We put it on, and the concept of the emotional kung fu, now that really triggered my imagination. And as much as when we was watching it, me and my brother, he absolutely hated it. He was like, "What the hell is this?" When he's laughing and then he's crying. And I'm like, "What do you mean? What is this? This is quite clearly genius." And it just did that for me. I thought, I've never seen this before. He's confusing his opponent. I didn't know who Yen Shi Kwon was then. I just knew that I absolutely loved that look of him. He looks with the long hair and the cape. Yeah, that is, it always will be, I think, my favorite one of the 70s for Jackie Chan. It just, there's something about it that deeply resonates with me, and I think it's just the unusualness of the fighting style, that he's fought outside the box and he's presented you with something completely different to what you've seen before. And yeah, that's all I've got to add to that one. Guys,
I
this has
know
been
I
absolutely
was saying
magnificent.
oh yeah, as you were saying that, I was just about to say, I feel like I could go an hour just on Fearless Hyena. I don't know if Caleb would just be like, bye guys.
No, I will say I definitely admire like where you guys are coming from. I respect that. I mean, I see what you're saying, and I'm not gonna say Fearless Hyena is like a bad movie by any means. I think it's good, but what I like about it is the second half, like whenever the unicorn comes in.
Yeah.
Whenever we got to that point, or whenever I got to that point specifically, I was like, okay. I was like, now I can get into this. But beforehand, with like all the other hijinks and stuff like that, I was just kind of like, I was like, what is this? What is happening here? Like, I feel like I don't know. Maybe Jackie had maybe he kind of overwhelmed himself, or like overwhelmed his own imagination or something like that. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but like I feel like maybe he got a little too crazy with like all the antics throughout Fearless Hyena, and then but whenever James Tien's character comes down with something, that was like whenever that scene happens, and then then the unicorn comes in, and then like we see some more of the villains and stuff like that, then I was like, okay, now I'm interested. This is intense. I like it. And then we get some really great training. We get a really great final fight with Jackie and Yen Shi Kwon. But yeah, it was kind of just like after the movie was over, for me, I was like, why couldn't we have more of that? Because before, just all this ridiculousness, and I
So
just
him being dressed up as the woman when he was doing all those, like, and then he was obviously disguising in case his grandfather would find out, but
yeah.
all those fights didn't work for you too much when he was being the woman and all.
Not
Okay.
really. No, it just, yeah. I mean, it's like dressing up as a woman, or trying to be a guy who's like mentally disabled or something like that, or it's just like, I don't know. It's just like too many wacky antics going on, and for
Fair
me,
enough.
it just like wasn't funny to me, and
Okay.
and of course, comedy is subjective. Obviously you guys thought it was funny. I just didn't, and I wasn't into it, but like afterwards, yeah, I thought it was great. And when it was over, I was just, thinking, why couldn't we have more of that? And that's kind of just my take on it.
I wanted to add, like, in trying not to do the Fearless Hyena extra hour, but the training, I feel the reason I love the training so much is the best part of training in Kung Fu or the worst. And I think it has to do with time a lot. I feel the hard part to nail in training is to feel the guy trying and failing. You see him trying and failing and trying and failing. 36 Chamber of Shaolin nails that, like especially when he's trying to to overcome the butterfly swords with what Lee Hoi Sing, who recently passed. Yeah. And, when he's trying to overcome that, he fails. So he's making the weapons, and it's breathtaking. It's amazing. Just the film, the screenplay, and everything about it, the design of it. Fearless Hyena, I feel, did it excellent too, but you don't even know. You feel like he's ready, and he feels like he's ready, but he goes to attack, all of them, and when they're walking in the town, and he's just raging. But you feel like his kung fu should be good enough, but he learns, because of all he has is that pure anger, that the unicorn has to teach him. Okay, that's one of the elements we're going to have you do, anger, and the way he introduces the emotional kung fu, and the reason he needs to use the emotional kung fu. I feel it nails that needed trajectory of the training, because I'm sure you guys have seen this. It's often the guy sucks, and then the next scene in training he's much great. Better, and and then he's like fighting the boss. And I think that's condensing. And another one is No Retreat, No Surrender. I felt did good on the training, letting Bruce Lee in the garage, getting him better. I think that's what makes and Kickboxer. I think it's interesting to dissect what makes good training. Or just, I just hate when the guy can barely do anything, and then the next thing he's just like, the music comes in and he's like a master, already.
Yeah.
Right. Excellent. I've got ideas swimming around my head now because I've enjoyed this one so much. I'm just going to throw
it's been great, guys.
To the general audience. What about if we did a top 3 Wong Fei Hung films?
That'd be great.
That would be interesting.
There's there, isn't there? Yeah.
Well, I do have a slight dib. I do have a slight dib on our next one, but I'm not going to spoil it. Well, no, we've discussed it, but I think we could surprise the audience.
Oh yeah. This is just for future. If somebody wants to leave a comment and let us know if that's something you may be interested in down the line. Might be like a pre-Christmas one. Who knows?
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for the ideas on this. And I absolutely love what you guys had to say. Really buzzing now. Final words before we go, Jace?
Caleb?
Subscribe.
Yes. Check out all of our channels, and I just want to say I had a great time with you guys. For real, it was so much fun.
Yeah, me too. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad we finally got to do this.
Yeah, it got me thinking. My Jackie Chan wheels are spinning.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, people, this has been the Three Amigos on our favorite JC films of the 70s. And we will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe to these fantastic guys here. Cheers.